No, don't shoot me. Hello valued viewers, I hope you're all doing very well. 2 months ago I knew almost nothing of the 2001 to 2021 Afghanistan war. Since then we've researched and run 9 reenactments from the war. It's allowed us to learn an awful lot about the conflict and the belligerents, their goals, challenges and their effect on the local populace of the country over 21 years. But it's now time to investigate the 1979 to 1989 Soviet Afghan War. Again, I'm starting from a point of knowing almost nothing. The reasons for this war were very different from the 2001 war. In 1979, a pro-communist coalition government ruled Afghanistan against the majority's wishes. A local Islamist coalition known as the Mujahideen rose up against this government, and under pressure of losing influence, Kogin and Brezhnev sent in Soviet troops to stifle the rebellion. The Soviets expected to be in the country for less than a year, but as tends to happen when fighting a guerrilla insurgency in this country, they finally withdrew 11 years later, having suffered almost unbelievable losses in what was debatably the largest reason for the fall of the Soviet Union. When I start looking into a new conflict, the first thing I like to study is the demographics timeline. I find this a good indicator to show how the conflict has affected the country. So we see here the population of Afghanistan 1950 to 2024. Between these two bars we see the Soviet and Nationals versus the Mujahideen, and here ISAF, America, and the Nationals versus the Taliban. 1979, as the Soviets went in, the population of Afghanistan was 13.5 million. That dropped after a couple of years to less than 10.5 million, a reduction of more than 24% of the population. That's accounted for by the upper estimates of population deaths of 3 million. That's knocking on the door of Khmer Rouge territory. But in reality it was worse than that, because as well as the populace killed, more than 5 million civilians were temporarily displaced to other countries like Pakistan, Iran and so on. So at some points during the war the population would have dipped below 5 million, an almost empty country. Now we compare that to 2001, we can see here the population actually spikes as America, leading ISAF, enter the country, and then increases from 20 million to 40 million over 21 years, a 100% increase. So I ask you at this point, viewers, why such a difference in the demographics between these two conflicts? Well, here's my opinion. American-led ISAF with Nationals, in my opinion, fought over 21 years with responsibility and accountability on the whole. They did their best to not harm civilian infrastructure while taking out the insurgents. Yes, mistakes were made, and we've tried to show those mistakes. America killed Canadians, sometimes by accident. British killed British, sometimes by accident. But on the whole, operations were planned very carefully not to hurt civilians. But we missed the most important factor, which is that it wasn't just conflict. We've shown a conflict here because it's what we do, but in the background there was 21 years of reconstructing this country. In fact, we showed in this latest episode here how Indian contractors were brought in to rebuild the road system. And what happens when you rebuild a country over 21 years? Of course, the population increases thus. So in that case, why the contrast between the Soviet conflict? For that, I've gone to this book, which I started reading, and I seriously suggest you start reading it because it's excellent and gives a real flavour of what was going on at the time. A quick synopsis, it's called Jihad, the Secret War in Afghanistan by Tom Carew. He is or was an SAS Special Forces soldier from the UK. He was tasked by the UK and US government to enter Afghanistan during the Soviet war unofficially. So if he was caught, he would be disowned by his masters. He was accepted by the Mujahideen and fought with them on several battles and almost died about 20 times. It's quite amazing, really. He was tasked by the US and British government of doing almost impossible things. For instance, at one point he had to shoot down the Soviets' latest Mig-23 helicopter, find the wreckage, cut pieces off it and bring them back on donkeys to be studied in America by the CIA. But the most important thing I garner for today was how the Soviets operated. And that is, for instance, a typical scenario would be that the Islamists would have infiltrated a village or a town, knowingly by the population. They would be accepted by the population in both wars. It's just how the wars work. In the 2001 war, ISAF and AN would carefully try to unpick the Taliban from that settlement without destroying the civilian structure and lives as much as possible. The Soviet doctrine was very different. As Carew talks about, they would simply send in a regiment of bombers and atomise a village or town without warning, taking out any civilians that were in the town. So we can start to see how now the country was destroyed within 10 years. Anyway, sorry to drag on, but I thought that might interest you. Now we need to look at our reenactment that we want to run, of course, aviation reenactments. Like the 2001 war, there was actual air-to-air fighter dogfights in this conflict. During the Soviet Afghan War, the Pakistan Air Force logged 11,000 sorties, defending a total of 2,500 Soviet air violations. During these violations, and as a result of the bombing that was carried out, at least 8 Soviet aircraft were shot down by Pakistan F-16s. Today, we are reenacting September the 12th, 1988. 12 Mig-23 MLDs from 120 IAP took off to attack targets in the Kunar River Valley to the east of Zadadabad. Having formed up over Lake Zaburi, the group was directed to the border with Pakistan. 2 covering pairs separated early. One pair as cap above the hills 50 kilometres northwest of the attack zone, and the other pair 40 kilometres south. Responding F-16s were immediately launched. A pair of fighters led by Lieutenant Khalid Mahmood of the PAF 14th Squadron took off and followed a parallel course with the MiGs. In a few minutes, they were informed from the ground that a new column of aircraft had appeared in the air, the Strike Force. The Cap MiG fighters were sufficiently far that nothing prevented Mahmoud from attacking the Strike Force. As he approached, Mahmoud's RWR lit up as the Strike MiG's radar began targeting him. The F-16s charged the MiGs. When in range, Mahmoud got a tone on the lead MiG and let out an AIM-9L Sidewinder, but it missed. He fired again and immediately rolled away. The missile exploded above Captain Sergei Privalov's MiG. The expanding rod shot out at thousands of feet per second, broke into pieces and impacted vital parts on the plane. The MiG strike force turned away and the Cap fighters charged in. The Cap MiG's R-24R missiles easily outranged the F-16's weapons, and maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later. The F-16s chased the fleeing strike MiGs, but could not keep up. The MiG-23 was capable of Mach 2.35. The Pakistani aircraft turned and returned to home. And that's what we're doing today, guys. So we have the actual terrain and we have the actual target in our sim today. Here is Azadabad, and here is the Mujahideen camp, which the Soviets are going to bomb. The strike force approaches from the north, consisting 8 strike MiG-23s and 2 pairs of Cap MiG-23s. The Cap MiG-23s will be equipped as per real life with the R-24R, range about 10-15 miles, and aphids for protection. The strike force will just be equipped with heavy bombs and will bomb the camp. Escorting pairs, as per real life, will settle and orbit. One pair 50 kilometres northwest of the target and one pair 40 kilometres south of the target. The strike package will head south. It would have been too dangerous to go over the Himalayan route peaks here with the low visibility that they had on that day, so they went over the lower peaks here and they descended to attack altitude west of Jalalabad. They then entered the Kunar River Valley here towards the target, and then up to high altitude and then above the Himalayan route. We're operating from PAF Air Force Base, Peshawar. I assume this is where they operated from in real life, but I stand to be corrected. Our F-16s will be armed with AIM-9L Sidewinders as per real life. I couldn't find the quantity they were taking, so I've just gone for the whole hog of 6 Sidewinders per aircraft. In real life, they use F-16As. We're using F-16Cs because it's what we've got. It's not really a problem kinematically. They're about the same. The C has a better radar, but it's not going to make any difference for the close combat that we're going to be doing today. I must ask all pilots today to remove their data link and their helmet mounted sight because the A models would not have had that technology. We'll take off from Peshawar. We'll head north to steer point 1 at 20,000 feet, please, at which point the controller will ask us to investigate the incursion. We'll then follow controller signals to make the intercept. And that's it, guys. Welcome in, viewers. Simba Dark Cap Cannibal. Hello, boys.
Hello. Hello, boys.
Simba, please take us to the runway. Viewers, we've got lots of interesting talking points for this mission because we're, I guess, studying a new conflict. The first one specific to this mission is, according to some documents online, 2 MiG-23s were shot down during this engagement. But the story that I read out, and I'll put the link to the story in the video description, states that only one MiG was hit and he was not fully shot down. He did manage to make it back to base and did survive. So I'm a little confused about what the reality is. Another interesting point is we're going up against aircraft that have beyond visual range missiles, R-24s. And we've only got AIM-9 Sidewinders within visual range missiles. Pakistan were given the F-16A in the 1980s, but only with Sidewinders as air-to-air missiles. They were not given Sparrow. Now, why is that? I don't actually know. Is it because geopolitical reasons, or is it because the technology at the time didn't support missiles? I don't know. Again, I'd love to know that information.
I believe it was geopolitical reasons because the sale of F-16s went through Saudi Arabia. Coming off brakes in 3, 2, 1. Full burner. 3, 2, 1. Rotating. 3, 2, 1. Gear up. Coming left. Out of burn.
Where are the Grim Reapers? What have you done with them?
Well, I took all of them to the Grim Reapers Stoneburner training server and did some practice.
Very good, very good.
You know, viewers can go there too.
Roger. Alright, we're going to climb to 20,000 feet to do a bit of cruising. Just some interesting talking points reading that book. Talks about how the guy infiltrated the Mujahideen and fought with them, and it's interesting reading about his thoughts on them, how he described them as really good fighters, but also really bad fighters. They could be good because they could fight so fluidly. They could attack targets, they could run ambushes, and then when they thought the tide of the battle was turning, they could just scarper and disappear into the mountains, into the caves, which a traditional fighting force can't do as such. And very often, or almost always, the Soviets would not chase them into the mountains, so they could get away from conflict easily. But on the other side, they obviously weren't trained professional soldiers, so sometimes they would just be 17-year-old boys who could barely even hold an AK. And sometimes their ability to fight was less than optimal, should we say. He describes several occasions where the fighters were fighting well, but then suddenly something unexpected happened, like a Hind helicopter suddenly appeared, and rather than hiding or diving for cover, the fighters would just say, "God wills me to die now," and they would just kind of like throw their arms up in the air. So it was just such a mishmash of good and bad from the Mujahideen fighters. That said, they were extremely effective against the Soviets. Once we get to steer point 1, Peshawar control is going to vector us towards known incursion from MiGs. When we do that, please, we're going to go down to low level. Viewers, speaking of low level, when we get down, you're going to see that the terrain looks like an 8-bit 1980s Nintendo terrain. The reason for that is this part of the map that we've got here isn't actually finished yet. It's just a very rough mesh. So please excuse the terrible graphics, but we wanted to use the real locations. So we're just going to roll with it. Alright, let's take us left. Down to 500 feet, please. We can't talk about this conflict, viewers, and not talk about the Stinger missiles, shoulder-launched IR-guided missiles that were provided covertly by America to the Mujahideen fighters to shoot at the Soviet, mainly helicopters, but also fixed-wing aircraft. Tom, the SAS guy in the book, talks about how he fired multiple of these Stingers at Hind helicopters with, shall we say, mixed results. The effectiveness of these Stingers in the conflict has always been in question. Some historians claim that they won the war. Others claim that they had negligible effect. We get mixed sources from guys on the ground. The Mujahideen claimed that they had near 100% success rate, whereas the same missiles were also provided to border forces of the Pakistan, and the Pakistanis claimed that they were nearly useless, with less than 20% kill rate. So really differing data. Gorbachev stated that they had little effect on the decision in 1989 to withdraw the troops. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on the actual efficacy of the Stingers during the war. One thing I do know from reading the book is that once the Soviets learned of the existence of the Stingers, then of course they just changed their tactics. Mi-24 helicopters flew at 50 feet rather than 5,000 feet. Fixed wing flew at 20,000 feet. Peshawar control. Hostile bomber incursion. 8-ship. Intercept. 284 degrees. 20 miles. Right, so let's keep low, guys. Let's go 284. Pretty much over these mountains. We're going to get to the Kunar River Basin where we're going to search for them. Alright, I'm going to stop chatting BS now and get to work. Keep low altitude as much as you can, guys, because you are also hiding from the cap. We're springing a trap here. If we get spotted, then we'll be attacked by superior missiles. Last note, please double check what you're firing at before you fire. Interestingly, only one Pakistan aircraft was shot down during the 10 or 11-year war. That was one of these F-16s, and it was by friendly fire. And there was kind of an American cover-up, which I would like to explore in a future video. Guys, this is the wall for the Kunar Basin. Once we're in here, you're going to be looking for the strike. So I'm coming off power. Let us know as soon as you see them. We're in the basin now. Searching. Anyone see anything?
Yep. Come left. Angels 8.
Visual. Engage, engage, engage. Free fire, guys. Free fire. Well spotted.
Alright, I got Trail Bandit.
Lead. Box 2. Box 2. Both miss. Guns, guns, guns. Box 2.
Flat or hit.
Cap spike, cap spike. Mig-23. Looks like the cap's coming for us.
Box 2.
Visual F-16. Visual flogger.
Splash 1.
Put up. I think they're all in the basement still. We've still got time before the fighters get in.
Splash.
Visual flogger. Come on, get him, get him, get him, get him. Box 2. Miss, miss, miss. Man, they're fast. Oh, scratch it.
Got another one going left to right.
Cap spike, cap spike. Unknown who by. Good kill, good kill. Alright, assess. That's a flogger, there's still a flogger in with us. Peshawar control, warning, camp fighters attacking. Right guys, use the radiation to find them and defend yourself from the attackers. Bear in mind, they have beyond visual range missiles and we don't, so fight accordingly. There may still be some down in the basement as well, so just check everything. I'm seeing radiation from break. About 200, 210. They'll probably be up high.
On another 23.
One of them's on your...
Two.
They have not to shoot each other, guys. They're still mixed in with us. No, don't shoot me. God.
Oh, that was...
What happened?
Oh, I got dark.
Oh, friendly fire. Bad boys. Keep fighting. Right, I've got to go and take these attackers on. Oh shit! Fox 1's in the air. Fox 1's in the air. Visual Fox 1. Cap diving. Oh god. Running.
Flash 23.
They're coming in from the south. Run. Run. No. Is it the end for Super Cap? You miss. I've got him in a dogfight. To the south. Suck my F-16 noobs. Attacking now.
Good to punch those tanks.
Will do. I've got to double check. Are you a flogger? Are you a flogger? Are you a flogger? No, you're an F-16. We're mixed in with the cap now. Yep, dumping tanks. We're mixed in with them, but where the hell did they go? Above the cloud question mark. Sonic boomed. F-16. Visual flogger on my 6. Alright, here we go.
Splash.
Tight, nice. I'm with the other one, where we left off. Tight, right, dogfight, low, lateral, right circle. Okay, I'm getting an angle. Altitude. Hostile is flaring, hostile is flaring. Going for a snapshot and failed. Hostile still flaring, probably got a few seconds before the other pair get in. Don't go above the clouds, don't go above the clouds. Almost got his 6.
Radar spike.
The other pair.
Radar spike 036.
Okay, I've got my solution finally. Traded everything in for the shot. Oh, I got no sidewinders left. Shit. Try and get a gun solution. Hostile's gone high. Using radar. Simba, maybe you should go and find those other two. Oh, we lost Cannonball. Any sighting on those other two, Simba?
I got one off my nose.
Roger, I'm chasing one of the other close ones through the cloud. Try and keep him busy, I'll get this kill.
Fox 2.
Nice.
Splash.
Alright, here's the power of the F-16 viewers. In you come. From Dudadi. Come to Mahmood. He's a dead man. He's down. Right, I'm coming to help you. I'm not allowed to know where you are, unfortunately, so I've got to find somehow. Data link's turned off. Use my radar. That's what I've got to do. In fact, Control would know. Control, Dark, can you vector me to Simba?
Yeah, after 6.
Roger. Roger.
240 for 4 miles.
Yep. What's our altitude?
High. Simba's low.
Roger.
Bring them back below the clouds.
Roger, I have a radar lock to something, but I can't fire yet.
Angels 9. Angels 10 is your target.
Fuel is good. Roger, pretty sure I've locked a hostile. Moving in. Don't hit a mountain, don't hit a mountain, don't hit a mountain.
Head on.
Something's happening. Ooh. Yes, okay. Merge 1 above the clouds. And speed is good. Alright, young man. On the left turn 501. Just giving it 6 like a bell end.
Do you have any heaters?
Nope. Got enough guns.
Alright, I got them.
Flash 1. Okay, do you know where the other one is?
Not getting any returns.
Control, is there another one out here?
No bandits.
Well done. Obviously that didn't happen in real life, viewers, but we like to spice things up and go for the whole hog. Well done. Bearing in mind, 4 of them, they've set the veteran skill level, 4 of them had beyond visual range missiles. We just smashed them. In fact, we smashed all 12. Great fighting, guys, great fighting. Was one of our kills friendly fire as well? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, myself and Simba are going to RTV. That's it. Welcome back, viewers. Approaching Peshawar. Ooh. Bit of an overshoot. In for landing.
Alright. We'll make a left orbit and touch down. E-brakes coming out. You're coming out in 3, 2, 1.
Altitude. Altitude.
Base turn for final. Stopping throttle in 3, 2, 1. One wheel's down.
Right, better stop braking, small runway. That's it, viewers. I hope you enjoyed it, and bye-bye.